Jojo Tsheola began his career in 1999 as a cleaner on a tourist train. A year later, he was driving the tour vehicles.
I learned as we were traveling across the whole country, what is tourism, what do people do, what do people see, why do people travel from across the world to come to South Africa. That's when I started learning and then gaining interest in the industry. And then it took about another 2 years before I could become a tourist guide. And that was also through writing of assignments and being interviewed about, do you know the country? And then the Gauteng Tourism Authority, they then helped us, people who are experienced in the industry, to accredit us with certificate that no, we are competent, we could be competent tourist guides.
Perhaps a blessing in disguise, he soon found himself without a job when the company didn't renew his contract.
But at that point, I knew that no, what I wanted to do was to start my own thing. I didn't know how, and then that's the reason why I couldn't even have capital or some finance to do the business. So it took me another year to 2 years of researching the industry to try and identify what could I do in this industry, what kind of contribution should I make. And then that is when I realized, or I identified the gap in the tour operating.
He had a plan, but he didn't have finance.
Firstly, I needed vehicles, at least one vehicle to start off, but the vehicle needed to be financed. And then as a new business then, it was 2007, then there was no way that I could be financed because I had no history. Then I started inviting my friend who had a microbus to try and help me. When I've got people that are coming 1 or 2 on that day, then we use his vehicle. For every cent that came into the business, I ensured that that money is put in the bank to show the bank that when I go to them and say I need finance, then they can see that no, there is money coming in and out. And then it took almost a year before they could trust, before the bank could trust that no, my business is making money, and then I could be financed for a vehicle. And also from my side, it was the focus that I knew what I wanted to achieve, and then I stayed focused. I banked all the money, every cent that I got, and then eventually my first vehicle was financed in 2008.
He marketed his services mainly at conferences such as Tourism Indaba and Meetings Africa. But the 2010 Soccer World Cup was a key event in growing Jojo's business.
It was before my business was born when South Africa was announced that they're going to host the World Cup. And it was during the time where I was starting to plan to run my own business. The dream was just beginning. Then I positioned myself very well. I made sure that I attend every conference, tourism conference, to get to know about the preparations towards the World Cup. And then luckily I met an overseas travel agent who was looking for the ground handlers in South Africa. And then we were able to talk from 2008, and then in 2010 then they signed a contract with me to transport tours, shuttles for their corporate executives who were here for the World Cup. And it was a big success because we're speaking about big numbers of international visitors and from very reputable companies. So in return, the World Cup was a big success for my company.
One of the highlights of Jojo's achievements was winning the Emerging Tourism Entrepreneur of the Year award in 2009 and winning first runner-up for the 2010 Emerging Entrepreneur of the Year.
At the time we won the award, our employment rate, we had 12 people, but within a year we were able to increase the number to 21.
The future holds a number of big opportunities for Jojo. He plans to do international sports event tours, starting with the 2014 Soccer World Cup in Brazil.